We think of fruit trees for their delicious fruit, but what if the leaves were just as valuable? Most people never think to use them, even though they're packed with medicinal benefits. I'm Allie, and after 30 years of studying organic gardening and herbal medicine, this is one of the most overlooked healing sources on the homestead and in the backyard. Today, I'm sharing with you 6 fruit trees plus 2 bonus trees at the end. What they're good for, when's the best time to harvest them, and how to actually use them as real medicine. Before we dive into each tree, just know that these trees are not rare, and many of you might already be growing some of them. And even if you live in a colder climate, you could grow them in a pot and bring them into a greenhouse or a sunny room or even a garage during the winter time. We know that pomegranates are loaded with antioxidants, but the leaves of pomegranate trees have their own medicinal value that most people overlook. Pomegranates grow best in zones 7 through 10, but if you live in a colder climate, then there are several dwarf varieties that grow great in pots and can be moved into a protected area during the winter months, so everybody can grow a pomegranate. I've put together a list of the pomegranates that do best in pots, and you can find that link in the description below. The leaves contain anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, and antioxidant compounds that support digestive irritation, minor infections, immune boosting, and skin inflammation. Because they are slightly tannic, they're especially useful for tightening irritated tissues, especially the gut lining or a rash on the skin. Traditionally, pomegranate leaves were used in Persian, Mediterranean, and Ayurvedic medicine for fevers, upset stomach, and wound care. The leaves make a mild, earthy tea, and they blend well with mint, lemon balm, and mulberry just to round out the flavor. You want to harvest the leaves in the late spring or early summer while they're mature but not leathery. They're excellent when you dry them, that way you have use for them all year long. Or you can use the fresh leaves as a poultice for irritated skin or even bug bites. To make a tea out of the pomegranate leaves, you want to simmer it for 10 to 15 minutes because the heat is going to help extract all of those beneficial compounds, making it a more nourishing tea for your body. You can also make a tincture out of pomegranate leaves, which is great for antimicrobial use, and it lasts a lot longer too. As you can tell, it's late fall here in southern Utah, and this is not the time to be harvesting pomegranate leaves because at this point, they've lost a lot of their medicinal qualities. Make sure that you always research herbs, or leaves in this case, to make sure that they're safe for you, especially if you're using medications or during pregnancy. We grow persimmons for their delicious fruit, but their leaves have their own unique medicinal properties that most people never tap into. Persimmons grow best in zones 5 through 9, making them one of the better fruit trees to grow in cold climates because they can handle frost and cooler temperatures than some of the other fruit trees. Asian persimmons are commonly found in backyard orchards, and the leaves of persimmons have been used medicinally in Korea and Japan for centuries. The leaves are rich in rutin, vitamin C, and antioxidant flavonoids that support heart health, circulation, and immune function. Rutin is a compound known for strengthening blood vessels and helping reduce inflammation in the cardiovascular system. Persimmon leaves are commonly used in parts of Asia as a daily longevity tea, not as a stimulant, but as a gentle, nourishing support for the body. It's been used for high blood pressure, seasonal fatigue, and circulation. The flavor of the tea is smooth and clean, very similar to a green tea, but without the bitterness or the caffeine. It blends well with linden, olive, and mulberry for a daily wellness tea. You want to harvest the leaves in the summertime when the leaves are mature, but they're not leathery. And again, it's fall time, and this isn't the time to be harvesting. Mature leaves have higher levels of rutin and antioxidants when you compare it to the spring leaves. You can dry your leaves so that you have use of those leaves all year long. They do take longer to dry because they are thicker than the pomegranate leaves. So if they crumble really nice, you know they're nice and dry. And to make a tea out of it, you want to steep it for 10 to 15 minutes, just like the pomegranate, because you want to pull out all those concentrations of the rutin, and that heat and that time helps extract that. In Mexico, avocado leaves have been used for generations, not just in cooking, but for remedies of pain, digestion, and inflammation. Avocado trees grow best in zones 9 through 11, but there are some varieties that can tolerate some cooler temperatures. But if you live in a colder zone like we do, a zone 8 or below, you can grow them in containers and move them indoors during the winter months. If you're growing an avocado tree for the leaves to use medicinally, you want to make sure that you're using a Mexican variety for the best medicinal action. I've got a list of the avocados that are best grown in pots, as well as the Mexican varieties, in a link in the description below. A common characteristic of a Mexican avocado leaf is that when you crumble it up and crush it, it'll have a pretty strong anise licorice type smell, or even a nutmeg smell. As opposed to a Guatemalan leaf of an avocado, it'll have a mild grassy smell. These leaves support muscle and joint tension, cramping, digestive discomfort, urinary tract health, and general inflammation. The leaves can also help relax muscles, which is why it's often used for bloating, menstrual cramps, and gas. You want to harvest the darker, mature leaves as opposed to the young flushes of leaves, because these darker leaves contain more medicinal benefits. You can use avocado leaves fresh or dried. When you make a tea out of it, you want it to simmer for 10 to 15 minutes because just a quick steep isn't enough. Avocado leaves are generally safe when they're used in small to moderate amounts, as long as you're using the Mexican varieties. If you're not sure of the avocado variety, then it's best just to bypass using it as a tea or for medicinal uses. Fig leaves are surprisingly gentle and supportive, especially for the lungs, skin, and metabolic health. And they make an excellent smooth, nutty tea when you simmer the leaves. Fig trees grow well in zones 7 through 11, but there are some hardier varieties that will survive in zone 6 with some protection. Or you can grow fig trees in containers for those lower zones and bring them in during the winter months. In the Mediterranean and Middle Eastern traditions, they would simmer the leaves for lingering coughs, bronchial irritations, and metabolic balance. In Turkey, the simmered leaves were also used to help support healthy blood sugar levels. The cool tea can also be used to soothe irritated skin when used as a compress. The sap of stems or the leaves contains a compound that can cause irritation to the skin when you're exposed to sunshine, and that's why a lot of people react to fig leaves. For example, when I'm harvesting my fig leaves or figs, I always wear a long sleeve shirt because otherwise, just by brushing up against it, it'll cause my skin to itch. That's because the latex that's in the sap is mildly phototoxic, and when it touches your skin and you're exposed to the sunshine, then that can create irritation. But once those leaves have dried or simmered, it's no longer an issue. The dried leaves can be infused in oil, like an almond oil or an olive oil or an oil of your choice. Infuse them for about 6 weeks, and then you can strain it off. And then that oil can be used for eczema and psoriasis. The tea is mild and comforting. It has a nutty coconut flavor when it's simmered, and it blends well with persimmon and mulberry leaves. Harvest fig leaves in the summertime when they're fully mature, and then simmer them for 10 to 15 minutes so that it brings out all of those good compounds that we want for medicinal benefits, and it also softens the flavor. Mulberry is a wonderful everyday medicinal leaf because it helps support steady energy and overall metabolic balance. And it's easy to grow in many climates. I don't have any mulberries planted on our property yet, but I do have this red mulberry that's potted right now, and I got it from Food Forest. And I'll put a link in the description below because this is where you can find a lot of the trees that we're talking about. Mulberry trees thrive in zones 4 through 10. They're very adaptable. So whether you're living in a cold northern climate or a warm southern climate, they'll do great for you. The leaves help the body process sugars more gradually, which can support more stable energy levels throughout the day. They're also gentle on the lungs and traditionally used for seasonal allergies, dry cough, and immune support. In traditional Chinese medicine, the leaves were brewed to help cool the body with fevers or even during hot weather. The tea also helps soothe breathing discomfort and supports recovery after an illness, and it pairs great with mint. The tea is mild and smooth, and it has a slight grassy taste to it, similar to a green tea, which makes it really easy to drink on a daily basis for a wellness tea. You want to harvest the tea in late spring to early summer for a daily tea that's mild, or you can harvest it in the middle of summertime, and it's going to be stronger with deeper medicinal benefits. Make sure that you dry plenty of mulberry leaves in season so that you can have it for year-round use. Simmer the leaves for 10 to 12 minutes to extract all of those good medicinal benefits and keeping it soft and drinkable. Mulberry leaves are generally safe to drink on a day-to-day basis, but if you're already working on blood sugar levels, then it's wise to start slowly, just to see how your body responds. Olive leaf has been used in Mediterranean herbal medicine for centuries for heart and circulation health, long before olive oil became popular for the same thing. Olive trees grow best in zones 8 through 11, but they can also be grown in colder climates in large pots and be brought into a protected area during the winter months. The leaves contain natural bitter compounds to help reduce inflammation in the cardiovascular system, support healthy circulation, and give the body extra support when you're worn down or recovering from illness. Traditionally, the leaves were simmered for fevers, long recovery periods, and fatigue, especially after being sick. The flavor of olive leaf is bold and slightly bitter, and so it's best if you can combine it with a sweeter herb like lemon balm or mints. One thing that I really like about the olive leaf is it stores very well. The compounds in it are stable, and it'll store for about 3 years as long as you keep it out of heat and light. Harvest olive leaves from late spring through fall, and the older leaves tend to keep longer. And as you can see, that the olive leaf has a much larger window for harvesting than the other trees do. To make a tea, you'll want to simmer the leaves for 10 to 15 minutes. The longer decoction is better than just a quick steep. This is a great herb to reach for when you're feeling under stress, run down, or need a little extra support for circulation. Our next two trees are our bonus trees, and they're not fruit trees, but they're easy to grow and packed full of health benefits. Linden is one of my favorite calming herbs because it supports the nervous system and the heart at the same time. It's gentle and soothing, especially during seasonal stress and emotional overwhelm. It grows well in zones 3 through 7, making it excellent for growing in colder climates where other trees may not grow. The leaves, flowers, and bracts are made into a tea for anxiety, sleep, restlessness, and stress on the heart. In old villages, linden trees were planted in the center of town because the blossoms were considered a community medicine. The blossoms were used to calm nerves during times of grief, stress, and illness, both good for adults and children. The flavor is soft, mild, and slightly sweet, and it blends really well with chamomile. Linden is also a major pollinator tree. Bees absolutely love the blossoms. When the tree blooms, you'll often hear it before you see it because of the buzzing. The best time to harvest linden is in the late spring to early summer, when the blossoms are just starting to open up. You'll harvest the blossoms, the pale yellow bracts, and the young tender leaves. Because the leaves and the flowers are much more tender than the other plants, then you only need to steep the leaves for 8 to 10 minutes to get all of its good health benefits. Linden is wonderful and gentle, making it a great everyday tea during those stressful seasons. Oak leaves are a strong astringent herb, helpful for topical first aid for things like cuts, insect bites, and irritated skin. But it also can be taken internally when you need to tighten tissues, especially when it comes to the lungs and mucous membranes. Oak trees grow across zones 3 through 10, making them one of the most accessible medicinal tree leaves. Their strength comes from high tannins, which help dry out weepy skin, tighten irritated tissue, and reduce inflammation. Oak leaves contain quercetin, a natural antioxidant that helps calm inflammation in the body, especially when it comes to the lungs and respiratory system. This makes oak leaves useful for wet coughs, irritated airways, and congestion. Oak leaves are drying rather than moistening like a demulcent herb. The tea from oak leaves has a strong, woody, bitter flavor, so it's not great for a daily sipping tea. It's more of a specific tea when you need strong action. Oak leaves dry and store well, and you want to harvest them late spring or through the summertime. Not this time of year when it's fall time and the leaves are brown. You want them to be mature and beautifully green. The older, more mature green leaves contain higher tannins, so they're going to contain more medicine. When making an oak leaf tea, simmer it for 10 to 15 minutes, whether you're using it internally or externally. If you're using it externally, obviously let it cool. Then you can soak your rag in it for just a few minutes to absorb all of that goodness, strain it off, and then you can apply it right to the area that you need. If you're outside and you need quick relief from an insect bite, you can just grab the green leaves, crush them up, and put them right on that spot. Oak leaf isn't an everyday herb, but when you need something strong, it's fast and very effective. Wherever you live, God has already planted what thrives in your climate, and many of those plants carry healing in their leaves. When we learn to use what grows around us, we find heart support, lung support, stress relief, immune balance, metabolic help, and first aid from all of these trees that we can grow right at home. Don't forget to grab your free PDF in the description below. I've included a lot of information about all these trees we've talked about in this video. Have a great day, a better tomorrow, and may God bless you.